All right, folks, how we doing? Today is Monday, April 3rd, 2017. We got a little flash alert for you. Patrick Ewing, former Georgetown center, won the national championship as a member of the Georgetown Hoyas. Most famously of the New York Knicks, of course. He played for the Seattle Sonics and Orlando Magic as well. I'm sorry that I get a kick from that every time. That's like Shaq as a Boston Celtic or Jerry Rice as a Seahawk. How bad those finishes were. Emmitt Smith as a Cardinal, whatever ones you want to use. So Joe Namath as a Ram, one of those horrible finishes to a career by people. Pete Rose is an Expo, but that's the end of that. I usually don't get into college basketball. Patrick Ewing, as of right now, he was the associate head coach of the Charlotte Hornets. He had been, coaching for a long time, and that's why I did this video because I'm glad to see Patrick Ewing get the chance. Of course, they fired John Thompson III. He was the son of John Thompson Jr. Now, I'm going to call out Mike Francesa again because he said there was no chance, I repeat, no chance of Patrick Ewing getting this job because they wanted to move away from the John Thompson legacy. Of course, John Thompson Jr., that's one of the reasons they were getting rid of John Thompson III. So, Mike Francesa, you are wrong again. But, of course, that guy's still going to have a job and make all the money regardless. But as for this one, I'm very happy to see Patrick Ewing get the chance. This is a guy who, I think ever since he retired, what year did he retire? Like 2001, 2002. It did not take him long to get into the coaching ranks. It's hard for me to even remember all the teams Patrick Ewing has coached. To be honest, I believe it was all in the NBA. I'm actually going to try to check it right now. But for whatever reason, I'm like remembering him coaching in the college ranks as an assistant. This is his first head coaching job altogether, but that's why I'm looking it up right now. I believe, like I said, it's all been in NBA. Yeah, Washington Wizards, Houston Rockets, Orlando Magic, Charlotte Bobcats. So he was never a college assistant for whatever, like, it's just coming into my mind that he was an assistant for the Indiana Hoosiers for some reason. I don't know why that is, but certainly that wasn't the case. It was all NBA. So, this is a situation. You have a guy coming in. You had Chris Mullen, who went to the, St. John's. I don't even know what they're, if they're the Red Storm or Red Men at this point. I believe they're the Red Storm. But you had a guy who was a great player going back. So you have to wonder. Certainly, St. John's has not had the success since Mullen has come back. Like I said, I don't really follow college basketball much. When I do follow basketball, though, I follow the Big East, and I'm a Seton Hall fan, and they play in the Big East. So that's one of the reasons that I know a little bit about it. Here's the difference, though. Chris Mullen was not a head coach or a coach at all when he took the job, for the St. John's team to be their head coach. Chris Mullen had done some executive work with the Golden State Warriors. However, Chris Mullen, wasn't really that good of a executive at the time. I believe he was the guy right when they started to turn things around in Golden State. Let me check it. He had been a broadcaster. Yeah, he. Yeah, he was gone well before that. I mean, they may have made the playoffs as the Warriors. That one year they upset the. I didn't even realize he was gone that quick. He was gone in 2009. So even before things started to turn around under Mark Jackson, he hadn't really gotten the job done. So you worry about those sort of things. You like the excitement. Oh, we got Patrick coming back. You try to relive those days. It's like, from 30 years ago, I don't know what's going to happen. That's not going to win basketball games. I'm not saying Patrick Ewing can't do it, but, this, reviving the ghost of Georgetown basketball past isn't going to revive what happens. It's like all these idiots out there who are like, yeah, talking about Ronald Reagan and all this Ronald Reagan crap all the time. It's like, Ronald Reagan hasn't been president for 30 freaking years, folks. You got to worry about now. What was happening in the 80s. So that's one of those, again, that's not even a point that Patrick Ewing can't do this or can't coach or anything of that regard. Frankly, I think Patrick Ewing Will be good. Yeah, he went right from, by the way, he went right from playing to coaching. He retired from Magic. Then he went to the Wizards as an assistant, and he hasn't taken any, maybe a year off in there, it looks like, between Houston and Orlando as a coach. But he's been paying his dues. He's been an assistant coach on the NBA level. I certainly think he should be able to recruit. Of course, his son was playing at Georgetown. He probably has some connections there. I don't know what the situation is with Georgetown as far as, at the levels of college basketball or college football for that matter. You have a lot of, whining and dining, for lack of a better term, a lot of people you have to appease. There was the talk when Charlie Strong was the head coach of Texas, with the Indiana position being filled. There's a lot of, people who want, the recognition with the program and all that, and you gotta, lube up for them and do all that stuff and make them feel special. So I don't know how that is with Georgetown, but certainly a guy like Patrick Ewing will probably carry the respect, especially from the people who live in, the 30-year-old shadows and all that. How much does he want to do it? I don't know, but recruiting I don't think should be a problem with his son playing there. And him being able to go back and certainly has some respect, in the NBA Hall of Famer. I don't think people realize how great of a player Patrick Ewing was. Almost scored 25,000 points. He was well over 20 points at 21 points per game, over almost 2.5 blocks and nearly 10 rebounds. And remember, a guy like that who played as long as he did, those numbers come down towards the end of the career. Guys like, Kevin Garnett will see the same thing, of course. Towards the end, his last year, he played 65 games, so it's not like he completely dogged it. Only averaged 6 points, 4 rebounds. The year before that, played 79 games. 9.6 points, 7.4 rebounds are certainly not bad numbers, especially at that age, but those really hurt the averages. He hadn't averaged 20 points since the 97-98 season when he only played 26 games. So for his numbers to be that high, he's certainly is impressive and clearly an all-time great in NBA Hall of Famer. A 20,000 point, 10,000 rebound guy. Of course, the block's very impressive, so he will command respect from those guys and guys who's cut his teeth as a coach. But just wanted to make note of that. I'm very happy to hear that for Patrick Ewing. I know it's been a big story. This guy, has paid his dues and he deserves a shot. I think, he was trying to get in the NBA for most of the time. Maybe he was trying to get into college. I don't know exactly, what his goals were, but I knew he wanted to be a head coach, and he got the gig. But want to call out Mike Francesa one more time again is wrong, of course, and hats off to Patrick Ewing. And those are the main points outside of Mike Francesa being wrong. Is the comparison with him and Chris Mullin. Can't really make the comparison. While Mullin was an executive, he certainly never cut his teeth as much as Patrick Ewing did in the coaching ranks. Mullin was a good player, but certainly not as good of a player as I would believe Patrick Ewing is, both in the Hall of Fame, of course, but Patrick Ewing was a lot better than Chris Mullin. Patrick Ewing is easily top 10 in his position, or at least right at the top 10. Chris Mullin is nowhere near top 10 of the all-time small forward shooting guards of all time. And, of course, but that's the other thing, the concerns I have with Patrick Ewing going to Georgetown. The whining and dining, all the auxiliary stuff, the ancillary stuff that comes with, these type of programs and things. The situation with John Thompson, of course, the third being gone. His connection, Patrick Ewing's, that is, with John Thompson Jr., who was the elder of the two John Thompsons who were the coaches there. So we'll have to see about that. But I don't think the recruiting will be a problem, as I said. And again, hats off to Patrick Ewing. I see this being a good thing. All right, so remember, we appreciate all subscriptions as well, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks so much.